Hello and welcome to Pointer Syntax in C. My name is Benjamin Dorn, and today we'll be taking a look at how to think about pointers and how to interact with pointers using C syntax. So for our first example, let's take a look at how to think about a pointer. And I like to think about pointers like as entries in the table of contents in a book. So if we take a look at this left diagram, we can try to imagine a book. It would have up to 11 chapters, and for each chapter in the table of contents, it would then have the page number of where the chapter starts. And then if we flipped to that page number, we would be able to find that chapter. Likewise, for a pointer, we're going to have the name of the pointer, which should be representative of what the pointer is pointing to. Then we're going to have the memory address of a variable. And this memory address is just like the page number in a book. It's a place that we can flip to find information. So in this case, the info would be 4, but it could be any type of variable that we've seen before, such as a float or a string or anything else. So thinking about the pointers as like entries in the table of contents can help us separate the three important components to the pointers. And that would be the name of the pointer. So just like in table of contents, it would have the chapter title. The name of the pointer should illustrate what it's pointing to. And then we have the memory address, which would be like the page number. This is where we're going. And then we also have the information that's being pointed to, so in this case a 4. And from that framework, looking at the three components of pointers, we can start to parse and interact with pointers. So this is just a very short program which is just going to declare and set a value for a pointer. So we're just going to start with int main void, like we've done with all of our programs in the past, and we have this int a equals 4, which is just declaring and setting a value for a standard variable. We're declaring a variable a, which is going to be an integer type, and we're setting that integer to 4. So the line right below it is where it might start to look kind of complicated. But we can parse it looking at those three components of pointers. So the first component, which is the variable's name, the pointer's name, it's p. The pointer's name is p. The third component is also pretty easy. Eventually, we're setting that value that the pointer is connected to. It's going to be 4. So we're eventually going to be getting 4. And we can kind of get a hint of that because we're using a here. It's going to be equal to a in some way. The second component, which is going to be how we're connecting the memory address, that's where a lot of this complicated syntax comes in. So the star right in front of the pointer, that's telling our compiler that this is a pointer. That's the indication that this is a pointer variable as opposed to just a standard variable up above. And this pointer variable basically indicates that instead of an integer type, we're going to be storing a memory address here. So why do we have this integer here? So this integer is not what's being stored at p, but this is going to be what is being stored where p is pointing to, what is being stored at the memory address in p. So that's how we're declaring our pointer, and we could have just done a semicolon and that would be our declaration. We can have int star p semicolon, and that's declared. But we're also wanting to set a value for p as well. And so what we're doing here is we're saying ampersand a, and so ampersand is the memory address of a. It's indicating that we want the memory address. So here we're saying we want a pointer. It's going to store a memory address, and that memory address is going to be of a integer type variable. Then over here we're saying that integer type variable is going to be a. And a is equal to 4, as we wrote above right here. Alright, and thank you for joining me for this syntax review of pointers in C.